6th.
So we go to the bottom of the 6th inning on the south side of Chicago. 12-0 Yankees in next homestand. How about the Red Sox for 4 games? And these Chicago White Sox come in. The Devil Rays make their first appearance at Yankee Stadium. Then last year's world champions, the Florida Marlins. A shell of themselves will be showing up at Yankee Stadium.
Well, you cringe to even say that, don't you? Last year's world champions.
Here's Albert Bell. Swinging at the first pitch and lifts a high fly ball to right field. O'Neill settles underneath it and has it for out number 1.
Kenny, I mentioned last inning, near the end of last inning, that you're on the bench of a losing team and you have to try to find some levity. There's some instruction going on. Nardi Contreras talking to Tony Castilla, but sometimes all the analyzing and all the coaching in the world, you just say, I don't care where you throw it. You have to figure out a way to lighten up some guys on that bench and get them playing the way they're capable.
You notice that movement. I didn't get it in on it.
Right.
Robin Ventura swinging at the first pitch. Ground ball to Swaim, and he's going to take it himself. Beats Ventura to the bag. 2 pitches and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And that's a telltale sign as Joe Torre feels this game is in hand. Luis Sojo has gone in to take over at shortstop for Derek Jeter, and Homer Bush will get a little activity. He'll play second base. Knobloch gets the rest of the night off. Joe just sits with his hands in his pockets. But when you start to see first pitch outs, last 4 innings of a ball game, 12-0, it tells you the other team has said, don't have much of a chance. Let's just flail away and get them tomorrow.
They are running up the white flag. You also mentioned about levity on a team when you're way behind in the game. I think you see the good teams when they have a blowout, as you watch this fly ball to right field, they're the ones that laugh because they know they're going to come back tomorrow and play a good game. O'Neill has it, and once again an easy inning for Hideki Arabu here in the bottom of the 6th. A 1-2-3-0 across for the White Sox. We played 6 here at Comiskey. It's all Yankees, 12-0.
New York Yankees baseball on MSG. The Yanks are in Chi-Town to battle the White Sox after New York City Marriott scorecard. Tomorrow night on MSG.
Yankee fans.
Here's what's happening on Speed Vision in May. From Spain and Monaco, exclusive live coverage of Formula One qualifying and race action. The magnificent McLaren combination of Hakkinen and Coulthard continue to challenge Team Ferrari and Team Williams. From Charlotte and Dover, live NASCAR qualifying. Jeff Gordon, last year's champion and Winston Select winner, battles for his 3rd title in 4 years. From Homestead, live coverage of Can-Am, the continuation of one of the world's premier road racing series. From Lime Rock, live coverage of World Sports Car. Butch Leitzinger looks to defend his title. In motorcycles, from Sears Point and Road Atlanta, live coverage of AMA Superbike. From Italy and France, same-day coverage of Grand Prix 500. And from Italy and Spain, same-day coverage of FIM World Superbike.
Start young at making it big. The Student Stock Tournament on CNBC, an online test of stock picking skills for student investment clubs across America. So visit our website and start building your portfolio today. With the right investment, your team could be invited to appear live on CNBC. Get into the game. The Student Stock Tournament. Watch for Bill Griffith's daily updates only at CNBC.
Fans are reminded that New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. There's a look at the skyline of downtown Chicago, and a beautiful one it is. New left fielder is Jeff Abbott, young outfielder who came up against the Yankees last year.
Greg Norton will take over at third base for Robin Ventura.
And Chris Snopek will be at second base. And a new pitcher is Carlos Castillo, the right-hander.
Look at the pipes on him. Got that uniform shirt kind of tight. A hit per inning, but a good live arm. A lot made of his appearance last year. A couple years ago, they thought maybe he threw at Bernie Williams. Wasn't the case, but you mentioned Joe sitting very relaxed. He calls Jorge Posada over, and I think you said whispers, keep putting down the same fingers.
Yep. Joe, Joe related to me a few weeks ago about his feelings for Jorge Posada and what Joe went through as a young catcher in Milwaukee with Del Crandall being the veteran catcher. And Joe said he knew he was going to play on the cold days in Milwaukee.
Against the hard throwers.
Against the hard throwers. It was all part of breaking into the big leagues. And Jorge Posada, of course, broke in last year and, has become a vital part of this ball club. Scott Brosius facing Carlos Castillo and fouls one back. That'll run the count to 0-2.
It is such a perfect match. There's probably no manager in baseball more suited to manage this team. And what Joe has done is to really bring back, when the Yankees were considered almost royalty, the regal Yankees, the elegant Yankees. That didn't happen in the 70s because of all the controversy going on between Reggie and Billy and even the principal owner. But these teams now under Joe Torre and his bench coach, they have restored a sense of dignity to this franchise. A very classy professional group of guys from Joe and his staff right on down to the playing roster.
And when the Yankees go out on the road, the fans usually pour to the ballparks feeling they're going to see something special, and they have this year. Here's Dale Swaim. A call strike from Carlos Castillo. Breaking ball misses, and that will level the count off at a ball and a strike. You got to figure that the ball club's been going so well that Dale Swaim hasn't gotten very many at bats, and now with the injuries, and this is part of baseball, you got to figure that somebody's going to go down for a little while or maybe in a lengthy portion of time, and the bench player is going to have to come through. Ball is ripped foul into the camera well.
I think as Tino sits, and I believe Dale talked with Al Trawick before the game and said, all I want to do is have quality at bats, and that sometimes can be an overused term, but that's what Swaim's trying to do right now because he knows in the long run he's going to be a pinch hitter.
Good breaking ball is swung on and missed. Strike three. Castillo has faced two men and struck them both out. So far he has been the most effective White Sox pitcher of the night. Here's Homer Bush.
One of those nights, Kenny, where the White Sox fans here are saying, why didn't they start this guy? And who knows, by the end of the year they may. I think Ron Shula, the general manager, and Jerry Manuel are going to be caught quite soon saying, when do we sit the veterans and start playing and pitching more and more of the youngsters?
Homer Bush, who, like Swaim, has not gotten much of a chance this year, but has made the most of it. First at bat for Bush and Soho, who's on deck, but the other Yankees, O'Neill and Williams with the big night. Swing and a miss, and a strike on Homer Bush, who has made the most of his opportunities. Bush has only had 12 at bats this year. He has 5 hits. That works out to .417. Another one of those late afternoon batting averages. Bernie Williams has had a good night. 4 runs batted in. 2 balls and a strike. 2 singles and a home run.
Another thing you don't see, you see some smiling, and they should. They're winning, but you don't see a lot of high-fiving, and they win with the same dignity that I always liked your former team. The Orioles were like that.
Didn't rub it in.
No, they just went about their business, and that's the way the Yankees were in the 60s too. And in fact, I can remember some World Series or pennant celebrations where they actually ran into the dugout. There wasn't a lot of celebrating on the field in those days. They just shook hands and went in the clubhouse.
Foul tip into the glove of Charlie O'Brien, and Carlos Castillo has struck out the side here in the 7th inning. The Yankees go very quietly, but Hideki Irabu and the Yankees lead 12-0.
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one, and we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. And in the morning when I rise, you bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything's gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
The world's greatest explorer wasn't available, so they got this guy. He's offensive. He's vulgar. He's perfect. Chris Farley. You want my head to explode? Matthew Perry. Trust me, the worst is over. They're hitting the road and anything else that gets in their way. Almost Heroes, rated PG-13, starts Friday, May 29th.
We've extended the Nissan Pre-Memorial Day event due to popular demand, which means we've extended our incredible 1.9% APR financing on the quality and craftsmanship of the new Nissan Altima. And we've extended our great leases. See your Nissan retailer now and spend Memorial Day and beyond in your new Nissan Altima. The extended Nissan Pre-Memorial Day event, only through June 1st. Lease the Nissan Altima GXE for $229 a month for 39 months with an initial payment of $999.
Damage, the first digital camera with a move and zoom lens. A 3-foot cable shoots over the crowd's head, behind your back. Shoot up a storm, then download only the best into your PC. Yes, Damage V, the digital camera with a fast, straight, detachable lens. Only from the mind of an ultra.
New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. Hideki Irabu, 68 pitches. Through 6 innings, his earned run average is down to a microscopic 1.21. And he now leads the American League. He's qualified for the amount of innings that he's thrown this year. Facing Mike Cameron, who is singled, stole a base, and fouled out. Ball and a strike.
Mentioned it's a long way from awarding the Cy Young Award. If you stop the season right now, it'd probably be Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling in the National League. But Irabu not far behind with the kind of numbers he has.
Pedro took a loss today.
Yeah. Toronto behind Pat Hentgen came back and beat him.
Al was telling me that the headlines in the Boston papers today was Pedro save us. After what the Yankees
do it every
did.
time.
No, he can't. Pitch is fouled straight back and out of play. 2-2 on Mike Cameron.
I liked your point in the last inning as we take a look at our New York Marriott matchup. Up to date, Navarro didn't last long, third of an inning, no strikeouts, and you see what Hideki has done through 6.
And one ERA is going down, the other one way up tonight. That'll make you move. Up and in, and the count is now full at 3-2.
White Sox have seen a few of these. You can see it was not by design because Posada's sitting up outside. And that ball just slipped out a little early, came up and in on Mike Cameron.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit hard, but right to Homer Bush for the out. So Cameron does not get the satisfaction of getting a hit after a ball near the helmet.
I liked your point last inning where you said the good teams, and I thought that Boston series was a good example of it for the Yankees. Really hard fought game on Friday night. The Red Sox come back, and the Yankees just like, okay, you won one. We're just that much closer to our next win. Whereas the bad teams, they tend to look at things,
yeah,
it's snowballing the other way.
O'Brien takes a call strike. And you noticed on the Yankee bench there, I know that Bernie Williams was sitting next to Tim Raines. And to me, Tim Raines is one of the funniest persons I've ever met in baseball. I've been around Major League Baseball for 29 years. Good curveball for a strike. And he can keep things lively on a ball club.
This is the pitch that Irabu has added. It's that look right now. It's about head high to Charlie O'Brien. Posada catches it at the knees.
Throw him another one. No. Fastball grounded to short. Luis Sojo with his first chance of the night. Throws out O'Brien. 2 up and 2 down. And Hideki has retired. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row.
And the early innings have taken a lot of heart out of this team and particularly out of the lineup. And now with his pitch count just a little over 70, he's got an excellent chance to pitch a complete game.
9 in a row and 15 out of 16 retired by Hideki Irabu. Mike Caruso has struck out, fouled out to the catcher, and made an error tonight. You mentioned Benji Gill was in spring training with the White Sox. Caruso beat him out. This kind of slaps at it and pops it just behind third. It's Sojo who makes the catch. Another easy inning for Hideki Irabu. He's cruising. So are the Yankees. We're going to the 8th. 12-0 Yankees, top of the 8th inning here at Comiskey Park. First game of a 3-game series, and here is our Aflac Trivia Quiz. Who threw the only no-hitter on Memorial Day?
Got me.
That got me too. Now, this is a good question. I mean, Memorial Day.
That's Bill Seamus. The veteran right-hander takes over the pitching chores for the White Sox. Soho first pitch swinging, lofts a lazy fly to right. Ordonez is there, and there's one down. So both teams now with the 12-0 score here in the 8th inning. You'll see a lot of swings early in the count. 10 innings of work for Seamus.
You still don't want to give at-bats away. I think that Paul O'Neill, what does he have? 3 hits tonight?
Yeah, he wants 4.
Oh, that's a good night. 3 hits, but 4 is a great night.
You could see it in this White Sox pitching staff tonight that after Navarro worked so hard in the first inning, Nardi Contreras conscientiously keeping the pitching charts in the White Sox dugout. That's outside. It's 2-0, but Navarro had so many 2-strike counts, 1-2, 0-2, and he just couldn't make that finish pitch. Yankees kept getting hits, scored 6 runs early, and they'll wear an opposing pitching staff down. Sooner or later, I think the American League staffs are going to realize the best way to get this team out is to challenge them on strike one, try to get ahead.
Throw the ball up towards the middle of the plate like that.
Now it's 3-1.
And what else has happened in this particular game? Jerry Manuel's had to go to his bullpen, what, 4 times tonight? Yankees have only used 1 pitcher.
There's O'Neill, 4 knocks.
There's that great night I was talking about.
Yeah. All the early pre-game batting practice with Chris Chambliss pays off.
He's got to be the happiest man on earth the last 3 days, the way the Yankees have been swinging the bats. And Paul O'Neill, look at him go the other way. You know, you get ahead on a count 3-1, and you think about jacking up, you think about really going deep, and instead O'Neill hits the ball the other way for the base hit. He takes what the pitcher gives him. So a good night has turned into a great night with 3 singles and a double.
Bernie Williams has already had a great night with 3 hits, 1 being a 3-run homer. Now he's back on the left side. 6 home runs in the month of May. Off speed pitch, grounded toward Cordero. He flipped to Caruso in time, return throw not in time. And there are 2 out. The Yankee 8th. Kenny, I think the only time I saw a Yankee hitter go outside of his general approach to hitting, and he admitted it, it was understandable. Derek Jeter had 2 pops at hitting for the cycle. He needed a home run. And after the game, I think he told the press, he said, no question, I was going for it. You know, and he tried to jack up, and it didn't work. But for the most part, this lineup will take the same approach, whether it's 12-0 or 1-0.
It's hard to hit a home run when you're trying to hit one. I think home runs or line drives gone wrong. They escape the ballpark because you just got underneath them.
Good fastball there from Seamus.
Do you notice who Jeter was sitting next to? Tim Raines. I mean, they're having big time fun.
Off the edge, 1-2. Oh, check that. Tim Cheetah says that caught the corner. A 3-pitch strikeout. All smiles on that Yankee bench. Yankees got on top early with a half a dozen, and as we go to the bottom of the 8th, they lead it 12-0. Still twilight in the Windy City. Look at Comiskey Park, and a reminder that New York Yankee baseball is brought to you in part by MCI. Is this a great time or what? And if you're a Yankee fan, you know the answer to that question. Hideki Irabu, after struggling in the first couple of innings a bit with his control, has just breezed through the last 5 or 6, and it's 12-0. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Our first look at Jeff Abbott. Pops the first pitch up near the White Sox dugout. Posada gives chase, and it'll bounce off the top of the dugout. The White Sox, when you look at their minor league system, about 7 of their top 10 prospects are on the roster right now. Jerry Manuel has said the reason he's been playing Cordero and sometimes Sierra and some of the veterans, sure, he'd like to see his team win at home, but they haven't been doing it. So I think you're going to begin to see Jeff Abbott, Greg Norton, some of their younger players get more opportunities. Curve misses, 1-1.
I mentioned the fans might remember Abbott because of the fact that he made his major league debut against the Yankees last June the 10th at the stadium. Got 2 hits that day.
That's low, 2-1.
Got his first major league hit off of Kenny Rogers.
4th round draft pick out of Atlanta, Georgia. That's outside. One of those rare Cleon Jones, Carl Warwick going back several years. Left-hand thrower, right-hand hitter. You look at the White Sox Toyota box score. Just 3 hits, and of course Abbott, Norton, and Snopek late game replacements, and Abbott draws a leadoff walk. Because Irabu has had a lot of pop-ups and some strikeouts, there has not been a lot of sensational plays, but this is going to be our Hoover pickup of the game.
Well, this is the one that got him out of the first inning. Little chopper by Maglio Ordonez, and he goes the short route. He forced at home plate with the bases loaded.
That's after a pair of walks in the first inning. He walked another White Sox hitter in the second. As Cordero steps in, takes ball 1. Hideki had retired 10 in a row. And actually 15 of the last 16 before Abbott drew the leadoff walk. In the air to left, not deep. Curtis is there. And there's 1 down. In the White Sox 8th.
That leadoff walk was the first for Hideki since the second inning. That's how dominant he has been.
A walk, a ground out, and a strikeout. And the last on a very controversial, according to Frank Thomas, pitch that he thought Tim Cheetah gave Irabu a little too much of the inside corner. A little farther back off the plate. That's low for a ball. Our American Express quote book. What Frank Thomas has to say about the White Sox.
That's going to be tough. 70%.
High 2-0. It's got to be tough on Thomas. I mean, the White Sox had things going in the right direction. They had 4 top draft picks in the late 80s when Al Goldis was in charge of the scouting system. Thomas was a #1. Ventura, McDowell, Alex Fernandez won the division in '93. 3-0, and Irabu can't find the strike zone. Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, did not believe and still doesn't in giving pitchers long-term contracts. And that's the reason all those great pitchers that I mentioned are pitching elsewhere. And some have had arm problems, which is why Reinsdorf didn't want to give pitchers long-term contracts. Swinging 3-0? No. That can't be right. But I think it was. 3-0 down 12-0. No, that's not right. That's not sound baseball. Von Joshua probably opened his eyes. Is this what they do in the big leagues? No. Pitch outside and high, and Thomas draws a walk. That's now 5 walks issued by Hideki Irabu, 2 in this inning. And we go back to our Aflac trivia quiz. Who threw the only no-hitter on Memorial Day? He is still currently active. The Eck, Dennis Eckersley.
Saw the Eck yesterday.
1977.
He was with the Cleveland Indians then.
Here's Greg Norton, another one of those top prospects for the White Sox. Got a couple of hits off Randy Johnson earlier this year. Always put up good minor league numbers.
Has a switch hitter.
High. 2-0.
You got to wonder if the White Sox, if they continue to struggle, will be thinking about trading some of their veteran players.
I think they will. Mel's a little concerned right now. Irabu had things going his way, and if he throws it in the strike zone, the White Sox have been swinging early. But now 8 of the last 9 pitches. He understands. Do you feel good? And he's shaking his head yes. I think Mel's saying, and just get the ball down. Try to throw the ball down around the knees.
He hasn't really gotten that pitch total up very high, and currently there is no action in the Yankees bullpen, so they're going to leave him in there a little bit longer.
I think Zim and Joe Torre discussing who might be out in the bullpen. The Yankees playing tonight without Graham Lloyd. He is starting his suspension. That's the message that Mel sent to Arabu, and that's in for a strike. It's 2-1. And again, 2-2.
Well, you know they're not going to trade Frank Thomas.
Ventura would be a logical. Over on the north side, they might like to have him playing third base. Cubbies are making a run at the wild card spot, so they're not going to trade him. Franchise player.
They would trade Albert Bell, I think.
On the corner, 3-pitch strikeout. Norton knew it. He started to walk away immediately. And Arabu, after a couple of walks, right back on target again. And there's 2 outs in the White Sox 8th.
A little breather by Mel Stoudemire out to the mound. Arabu catches his breath. Maybe got a little help on that one, but it's close enough for call strike 3. That's one of those rookie strikeouts. Every hitter goes through them your first year. We haven't seen you before, so you go back and sit down.
Chris Snopek, his first look at Hideki Arabu. That's outside for a ball. Another of the White Sox young players that they have a lot of faith in. Joined us late. We're going to see Jim Parquet, young left-hander, being called up from their minor league system to pitch against the Yankees tomorrow. Curveball in, 0-2. It's almost like he toys with these lineups. I'll be right with you on MSG, starting the New York Marriott's Yankee scorecard show at 7:30. He's issued 5 walks. The White Sox have had 6 base runners. They've left them all on base.
Ooh.
And then he comes back with a couple of breaking balls, back-to-back strikeouts, and the White Sox have now stranded 8. So it's 12-0 Yankees as we head to the top of the 9th inning here at Comiskey Park. Dark Yankee Baseball is brought to you in part by Hertz. For business, for pleasure, nobody does it exactly like Hertz. And despite an announced fireworks show after the game, most of the crowd here at Comiskey Park is leaving. Posada takes Seamus first pitch outside for a ball. I guess they saw enough fireworks from the Yankee bats during the game.
6 runs on 5 hits in the first inning.
One of those by Jorge Posada. Quickly 1-2. So apparently Hideki Arabu, after a discussion with Mel Stoudemire, will take the mound in the 9th inning with his shutout going, and that's the longest he's ever gone in a major league game. And on the hands, 1-2. Yankees struck with 6 in the first inning. A short night for Jamie Navarro, the veteran starter for the White Sox. He just lasted a third of an inning, and then they just tacked a couple on to the White Sox relief pitchers to make it an even dozen. Fouled down the right field line. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, in the paper here in Chicago today, in the Sun-Times, they were talking about the fact that the White Sox have been struggling. They said they had further problems coming to town in the Yankees, and it proved to be very prophetic.
0-2. Coming into the game, the White Sox 9-12 at home. And Posada fouls that out of play.
They show you how well the Yankees are going. They don't have 12 losses at home and on the road.
No. And it shows when you look around at this ball club. They've at this ballpark, they've lost interest. They're starting to leave as Curtis waits on deck. That's in for a strike, and Posada is down on strikes. First out of the Yankee 9th. And the Yanks are going to be back in action tomorrow with Paul O'Neill and the Bombers continue their assault on these White Sox. 8 o'clock on MSG. Then on Wednesday, the Yankees and White Sox will close out their battle in the Windy City with another 8 p.m. start right here on MSG. Catch great Yankee coverage this week. Please check your local listings. Ball 1 to Curtis. I mentioned the fans beginning to leave because Jerry Manuel's made a point of that, of trying to play some of his veterans at home. He said we'd like to put on a good show at least for our home fans. Outside 2-0, and I remember playing across the street here at Comiskey Park when Chuck Tanner was the manager, and for example, he would save Goose Gossage. Rather than use him too much on the road, he would save Goose Gossage to save some games at home and try to get some enthusiasm going for the home fans. That's what Manuel would like to do.
If Bill Veeck couldn't get it going before the game, with some of the things he did.
Disco demolition night.
Some elephants on the field before the game.
3-1 to Curtis. They tried. Of course, he was the originator of all the promotions across the street. The exploding scoreboard. Curtis draws a walk. I had a thrill my first day in the big leagues across the street early August of 1959, pitching the second game of doubleheader. In between games, on a flatbed truck, he had Louis Armstrong performing between games of a doubleheader, and they had about 52,000 in the seats. Hideki Irabu, yeah, he understands whatever his teammates are telling him, and he understands that one more inning of shutout ball, he'll have his first major league complete game shutout, and will then have a very minuscule league-leading ERA. In the air down the right field line, going to be a long run. Cordero got a late start, but he recovers in time to make a nice catch. 2 down.
Nice running catch by the White Sox first baseman. Cordero, when he first came up, was a shortstop. Didn't really have the arm for a shortstop. The Expos moved him to third and then to left field, but now here in Chicago, he's getting his first taste of playing first base. The Expos signed Cordero when he was 16 years old. Some scouts were flying down to Puerto Rico to try and sign him from another club. He got off the plane. They passed in the airport, and the Expos signed him.
Like the Yankees signing a 16-year-old Jackson Million. There's a big movement on board as Swaim takes a ball outside. Now it's 1-1. A big movement to try to make the draft international. So teams cannot sign players like Cordero at age 16. Reminder that tonight at 10:30, we invite you to join our MSG Sports Desk as Cordero flips to Simas, who works a couple of scoreless innings. And we head to the bottom of the ninth with Hideki Irabu getting an opportunity to finish his first complete game and shut out the White Sox. 12-0 Yankees. At Comiskey, we head to the bottom of the ninth. Yankees lead at 12-0. Hideki Irabu in position to pitch his first major league complete game shutout. Reminder that back at the stadium this weekend, a 4-gamer with the Red Sox. Thursday and Friday night games. Saturday 1 o'clock start. Sunday you get a free cap courtesy of Dime Savings Bank at 1:30. Same White Sox will be in town next Monday and Tuesday. Then the Devil Rays. First look at them. Early part of June, interleague play, the Marlins. Mario Ordonez, strike one. About 2.5 hours ago, Kenny, we talked about this great Yankee offense, and they have certainly performed, but also about the man on the mound. And with all the run scoring, the Yankees average more innings per start than any staff. They lead the American League in earned run average, and there's one of the big reasons why. Curveball misses, 1-1.
I don't know if the fans out there watched the Seinfeld finale, the last show, and one of the great lines was from Frank Costanza to the actor who plays George Steinbrenner about why did you pay Hideki Irabu $12 million? Well, now they're starting to find out.
Right. That's only the 4th hit. Ordonez leads off the White Sox 9th with a sharp single to left.
Well, I expect big things from Ordonez. Last year, I mentioned the Rookie of the Year in the American Association. Hit well over 300, about 14 home runs in the minors. 90 runs batted in. And the White Sox hope that will translate at the major league level.
Cameron towards shortstop. Soho will take it himself, and just like that, 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 9th, and Irabu is 1 out away from his first major league shutout. And And all Joe has to do is just keep looking at those stats. They get better and better for the Yankees. Charlie O'Brien represents the last hope for the White Sox. He has one of the 4 hits. Hit well down in the corner and left. Curtis will not get that one in. O'Brien will have his second hit of the game, a standing double with 2 down in the White Sox 9th.
Decky's going to have to work a little harder to pick up that first shutout. That was a high fastball. That's just where Charlie O'Brien likes it. He's a high fastball hitter. And now you got to remember, this is a 9th inning fastball. It's not the one that he was throwing in the 1st inning that had a little extra on it. And Charlie's able to rip this one to the corner in left field.
That prolongs the game, and Mike Caruso will get a chance. That's high for a ball. 5 walks and 6 strikeouts with an out to go for the shutout. You see what Caruso has done. If you looked at the Yankees starting pitching back in spring training, that's fouled out of play 1-1. You would rank Cone at the top, and then Pettit, then Wells, then Arabu possibly, still a question mark, and then Mendoza. If you rank them right now, the most effective starter has been Arabu, second has been Wells, third has been Mendoza. Cone and Pettit are down in number 4 and 5 if you analyzed all the pitching categories. 2-1. And as much as the Yankee offense has come through with a lot of double-digit performances like tonight, it's all set up by that good, solid starting pitching. Towards second. Bush is, he bobbled the ball, and the White Sox are going to get another chance.
Well, Caruso hustling down the line prolongs the ball game, and it will turn the lineup over again. Hits this one pretty solidly. Fastball in the middle of the plate. Hideki loses his hat. And the knockdown and then the throw, but not in time. Here's a look at it. Hideki trying to gather himself as he watches the ball headed towards second base.
And now he'll have to get out Jeff Abbott with runners at the corners and 2 down. Fouled out of play. That was scored a base hit for Mike Caruso.
Wow, I'm going to have
generously.
to. Yes, I'm going to have to change that on my scorecard. Or written down E4.
Which would mean if the White Sox score a run, that's why sometimes statistics don't tell the whole story. If the White Sox would score runs now, they would be earned runs. Realistically, they should have been unearned. That definitely was a playable ball for a big league second baseman. Tapped out toward Arabu. An accurate throw will do it for him, and to sway him in time, Hideki Arabu has pitched a complete game shutout, his first as a major leaguer. Yeah, he's going to save that ball. Another nice job by Jorge Posada. 12 runs to work with, but he gave the bullpen a nice night off. The White Sox stranded 10. It seemed, Kenny, like every time he put men on, he's got another gear there he goes to.
And it seems to have been that way all year long, Kitty. When he gets in trouble, all of a sudden the pitches, that fastball gets a little faster up in the strike zone. The splitter gets a little nastier, and you can see his reaction. It's certainly very happy, getting congratulations from his teammates. The Yankees roll on in scoring 6 in the first, making it an easy night for Hideki as he picks up his first major league shutout and complete game.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of his success this year too. His teammates like David Wells and David Cone have really made him feel like more of this ball club, more a part of it, and it shows in his personality, and it's reflected in his great pitching. The Yankees off to a good start in this 3-game series. They win it 12-0 back on MSG after this.
Yankee baseball on MSG, non-stop action.
It's deep, it is gone!
Tough pitching and the most powerful lineup in baseball. Every cannon, every heater, every slide, and every dinger from every angle. We're all over it.
He puts it away, and David Wells has pitched a perfect game.
Nobody brings you more excitement than the Bronx Bombers, and nobody brings you the Bombers like MSG.
Quiet times on the south side of Chicago. The Yankees pummel the White Sox 12-0. Let's check it out on the Jeep Eagle game summary. It started with a 6-run first, 12 runs, 14 hits, no errors. Hideki Irabu with his first complete game major league shutout runs his record to 4-0. White Sox got 6 hits, committed a pair of errors. Yankees have scored 63 runs in the last 7 games. And that 1.13 ERA now leads the American League. Paul O'Neill, oh, by the way, had a 4-hit game. But let's go down right now to the Yankee dugout where Al Troutwig is standing by with tonight's catcher of the shutout, Jorge Posada. Al?
And Jimmy still got the gear on and can give us some insight into what happened in the first inning when the Yankees scored 6 and what turned into a 5-hit masterpiece by Hideki Irabu tonight. Let's start off first, Jorge, with the first inning. You know, coming off those big offensive games in Boston, to think that the team could do it again is almost unthinkable. But you did it again tonight, and you did it by knocking out Jamie Navarro in the first inning.
Well, we got some key hits and stuff, and we came in the clutch, and guys are swinging the bat well, and we came in there and scored 6 runs, and I got kind of a little base hit, and scored a couple.
Little base hit, 2 RBIs, bases loaded. That's not little.
Yeah, I mean we swing the bat well, and we scored a lot of runs, and Hideki threw it through a great game.
But yeah, take me back to the bottom of the first inning, because it looked as though either he was sitting on the bench too long or he was trying to be too perfect. He loaded the bases up in a blink and was able to pitch out of it. What was he going through in that first inning?
Well, he just missed a couple of spots, and he got a base hit, and then he walked a couple, and all of a sudden he turns it up a notch and got the side. But I mean,
what happens to him when guys get on base? Because he does seem to be able to really turn on a little bit of a special fierce side of his personality.
Yeah, I think he just comes out and throws a little harder, and I think he just he throws a little harder and turns it up a notch, and he did that in the first inning, and that helped him to go through the whole game.
Late in the ball game, you came off the field, and Joe Torre went out of his way to sort of grab you on the shoulder and whisper sweet nothings into your ear. He was smiling, you were smiling. What was that all about?
Well, I was just a little frustrated in my at bat, and he said, just calm down. You're gonna hit. You relax and just have fun. You win in the game, and if you don't hit, you can still be a part of the game by catching.
So that single in the first inning wasn't enough for you.
No, I mean, I still gotta be a little hard on myself because I know I'm better than that, and just it's a little frustrated.
Now, as far as Hideki's overall performance, I didn't think in his last outing that we saw his top fastball. What about what was working, what wasn't working for him as the game moved along?
Well, today he threw a little harder than last time. He threw the curveball for a strike today too, and the split wasn't as good as it was. But I mean, he had the fastball and he was spotting well, and he did that today. He did a great job.
What's your assessment now? What should people be thinking about this team with 12 runs, 14 runs, 12 runs?
Well, we got a great top of the lineup, and we're gonna score runs with Chuck Knobloch and hitting the ball, hitting the ball well, and Derek is swinging, real good, and then comes Paul O'Neill, and then comes our, the hard part of the order. But we're gonna score a lot of runs, and we're doing a great job keeping guys off the bases, and the pitching staff is doing a great job too.
Good game by you as well. Thanks, Jorge.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jorge Posada, good enough to give us his time here, and that's the Yankee mentality. He's already driven in 2 runs with a single. The Yankees are up 12-0, and he's beating himself up because he didn't come through in the batter's box. The postgame still to come. Let's go to Deb Kaufman in New York.
Okay, thanks, Al. We will have these highlights after the postgame report. Reggie Miller, the Nick Killer, expanding his horizons by hitting a 3 to beat the Bulls. The Pacers win games 3 and 4 at home, and even their series against Chicago at 2 games apiece. With less than 5 seconds left in the second period, Dominik Hasek finally gave up a goal in this series. Caps and Sabres all tied up at 1. Princeton beat Maryland 15-5 to win their 3rd straight NCAA lacrosse title. Only Syracuse and Johns Hopkins have won 3 straight. A quick break, and we'll be back with more from the MSG Sports Desk after this. A complete game for Hideki Irabu. More on MSG right after this. Both winners at the French Open today, and Mike Quick will be here with his weekly high school report that's coming up on our half-hour show, which follows the Yankees post-game report from Comiskey Park. Back now to Comiskey, where our guys are standing by. It's the Yankees 12, the White Sox nothing, and the Yankees win again. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Deb. Once again, the Yankees beat the White Sox 12-0. Hideki Irabu with that 6-hit shutout. A lot of things to talk about tonight. You could talk about the great 6-run first inning, but we're so accustomed to talking about Yankee hitting that the night really belonged to Hideki Irabu.
It certainly did. It was after the Yankees got all those runs. It's just a matter of how far he could go in the ball game. First time he's gone a complete game shutout. You could see how happy he was at the end of the game. And the fact is that now he knows he's able to do this, complete a ball game. He might be in Yankee fans might be in store to see him complete some more games in the future. And now that ERA is down to what, 1.21 or lower than that, 1.11 I believe, whatever it is, and he takes over the league lead in earned run average. So $12 million, yeah, well worth it.
It's Bob Gibson-like numbers, 1.13, and I think that smile kind of said it all, how well he's fit in now with his team.
Yeah, and you could see that coming along. He's learning more English. You can he understands more that what Mel Stoudemire has to say to him. He only came out to the mound once, gave him a little bit of breather, then he struck out the next 2 hitters. So Hideki certainly featuring well in the Yankees rotation this year, and I think that the Yankee fans are going to see even better from him once he gets more accustomed to the league. And then, it's the first time the White Sox have seen him. Maybe they've seen him enough.
Wow, that ERA might go below 1. Well, once again from Comiskey Park, the final score here in the first of 3, the Yankees win it 12-0. Irabu the winner, Navarro the loser. Coming up next, our Tri-State Jeep and Eagle postgame report with Al Trautwig and Michael Kay. And we remind you that, again, tomorrow night on MSG, starting with our New York City Marriott's Yankee Scorecard show at 7:30, it'll be Andy Pettit pitching for the Yankees against young Jim Parquet. Paul O'Neill, hidden in those 12 runs and 14 hits, was a 4-hit night. Bernie Williams with a 3-run homer. Even Jose Cardinal felt pretty giddy tonight. Derek Jeter in front of the home folks. His parents in attendance. Hideki Irabu with a complete game shutout. For producer Leon Schreier, for Bill Webb, Eddie Caginelli, my partner Ken Singleton, Jim Cott saying so long from Chicago.
New York Yankees baseball has been brought to you by The Dime, the bank that's with you all the way. By the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines. By the Discover Card. By your Tri-State GMC dealers.
This is the Jeep and Eagle postgame report. It's brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. Not even the best team in baseball could rescue the White Sox at the gate. Just over 19,000 come out to Comiskey on this Memorial Day, and the Yankees pound Chicago 12-0. Hideki Irabu actually lowers his ERA to 1.13. He's still perfect on the season at 4-0, and Jamie Navarro lasted 1/3 of an inning before being pulled by Jerry Manuel. Hi, everybody. I'm Al Trautwig back here in Chicago. This franchise is in some serious trouble. The city's not buying into it, and they're losing, falling into the American League Central. So imagine you're one of the few White Sox fans, and you get your kid for Memorial Day to go see the New York Yankees at Comiskey, but you hit a little traffic on the Dan Ryan, and you missed the top half of the first inning. Guess what? Game over as the Yankees strike early for 6 runs, and the White Sox never showed any life. Hideki Irabu gave him a bases-loaded situation in the first inning, but he shut the door then, and he shut the door for the rest of the game. In fact, when the White Sox came to the plate with a runner in scoring position, and that happened for 10 batters tonight, only one member of the Chicago White Sox got a hit. Overall, right now, Hideki Irabu leads the American League in ERA with the mark that I told you, 1.13. And opponents are hitting now against him only 174. That's also tops in the American League. And the Yankees scored 12 on Saturday, 14 on Sunday at Fenway, and now 12 tonight here at Comiskey Park to take Game 1 of the series. Our highlights are going to be heavily front-loaded because it all happened early. Here's the Discover playback payback. In the top of the first inning with 2 runners on, Paul O'Neill beginning a 4-hit game with a 2 RBI double that scores Chuck Knobloch and Derek Jeter. Knobloch walked, Jeter executed a perfect hit and run, and that's how the Yankees built a 2-0 lead. Now bases loaded. And that is Jorge Posada delivering a 2 RBI single that scores O'Neill and Williams. Jamie Navarro's in big-time trouble. 4-0 New York. Still in the top of the first, Scott Brocious continues to be on a roll. An RBI single to center field that made it 5-0 Yankees. That was it for Navarro. First and third now. And those runners were brought in by Brocious. Hideki Irabu striking out Robin Ventura with the bases loaded, and the Yankees up by 6. Still in the bottom of the first inning, bases loaded. Irabu gets Maglio Ordonez to ground out to get out of the jam. So he preserves the lead, 6-0, top of the fourth, runner on first, one out. And that's Derek Jeter with an RBI triple that just missed being a home run. Knobloch scores again, 7-0 Yankees, but the Yankees were not done running and scoring and watching Hideki Irabu pitch well to Chicago tonight. No, Bernie Williams stepped to the plate in the 6th inning with 2 on. And while the ball wasn't carrying tonight toward left field, this one had plenty of carry. Way up there in left, and the Yankees at that point led 12-0, and they cruised behind Hideki Irabu's 5-hit complete game. He does yet another thing that he hasn't done with the Yankees. 12-0 the final. Michael Kay is emerging from the Yankee clubhouse wearing a fabulous outfit. Let's go to Deb Kaufman for a little bit more at the MSG Sports Desk.
All right, Al, I can't wait to see it. The Red Sox started the day 8 games in back of the Yankees in the loss column. Make it 9. Pedro Martinez suffers his first loss of the year. Boston loses to Toronto 7-5. Top of the 4th, it's the Jays on top 1-0. This is Ed Sprague with an excuse me base hit into right field. Carlos Delgado scores. It was 2-0 Toronto. Looked like Martinez might be okay when the Red Sox rallied for 4 in the 4th. Reggie Jefferson with a double that bounces around in the corner. Darren Bragg scores. Mo Vaughn goes to 3rd, and then it's another big hit. Scott Hatteberg with a big blow. That's gone. A 3-run shot to right, knocking in Vaughn and Jefferson. So it was a 4-2 lead, and that's usually enough for Pedro Martinez, but he allowed 7 runs and 12 hits, both season highs. Jose Cruz Jr. led off the 5th with a solo shot number 3 for him. He was off to a slow start, and Jose Canseco, who's off to a great start, gets his 17th. He's had 5 home runs in his last 7 games. Pat Henkin and the Jays hang on to win the final 7-4. David Bell hit a 2-run double to help the Indians beat the Tigers and his dad, manager Buddy Bell. The final there, 7-4. The 3rd father-son duo to face each other in Major League history. The rest of the American League scores look like this, beginning in Oakland, where the A's beat Tampa 8-2. Spezio and McFarland both with home runs. The Angels are down to the Royals. It's 5-4 there in the 6th. Ken Hill was 5-0 at Edison Field, in danger of losing his first game there. Minnesota at Texas. It's been all Twins. They lead the Rangers 9-0 in the 5th. And a couple of teams that have been big disappointments so far, Seattle and Baltimore, they're going to play a 2-game series. And right now it's all Mariners, 5-0 in the 2nd. Mark McGwire gets number 25. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, he was their only offense. It turns into a 6-1 loss for St. Louis against the Rockies. They lost in 17 innings yesterday. Today, the regular 9-inning affair. Rockies with the bases loaded. That's Dante Bichette lining one right down the line off of Cardinal starter Mike Busby. Larry Walker scores. Vinny Castilla scores. Todd Helton scores. It's a 3-run double for Bichette. Colorado up 3-0. McGuire's shot came in the bottom of the 1st. He connects off John Thompson, and that's gone. His 25th breaks Ken Griffey's record for most homers before June 1. Cardinals down 3-1. The Rockies get 3 more. Ellis Burks with a double to the gap in left center. John Thompson scores. That made it 4-1 Rockies, and again they go on to win it 6-1. The rest of the National League scores look like this. Barry Bonds with a 3-run home run, and the Giants beat the Reds 3-1. Oral Hershiser won again. The Dodgers beat the Astros in 10. The final there was 4-3. Gary Sheffield, the new Dodger, with a game-winning home run in extra innings. In Montreal, the Phillies and Expos are still going there in the 12th. And a big fight in the Braves game. Atlanta leading Chicago 6-2 there in the 8th. Tapney against Millwood. San Diego and Arizona all tied up at 2. They are in the 4th. Out in Phoenix. Well, the Phillies have given up. They have given up on J.D. Drew, given up on signing him before tonight's midnight deadline. They say his demands were just too much, and at this point it looks like J.D. Drew will go back into the draft. And by the way, the Phillies do have the number 1 pick again in this June's baseball draft. Don't look for them to pick him again. Over a card game, the Pittsburgh Pirates got into a brawl in their hotel lobby today, and relief pitcher Jeff Tabaka got a fractured jaw, fighting with his teammate Mark Wilkins in the lobby of the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee. And the Pfister has seen its share of baseball excitement the last couple of years. Tabak expected to be put on the DL with an injured jaw. The Yankees win at 12-0. Hideki Irabu goes the distance on this Memorial Day. We'll see you later.
You are watching the Jeep and Eagle Post-Game Report, brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Jeep Cherokee has always been the perfect getaway vehicle. But now, look what you can get away with. The $279 a month Jeep Cherokee lease, where you get 190 horses, automatic transmission, and always capable 4-wheel drive. Plus now these extras, including air conditioning at no extra charge. The $279 a month Jeep Cherokee lease. A great deal to get away with when you really want to get away from it all.
Check out this $279 lease at your dealer.
New York Yankees baseball on MSG. The Yanks are in Chi-Town to battle the White Sox after New York City Marriott scorecard. Tomorrow night on MSG.
77.
Prime Star presents a special sports update, detailing all you need to know about your sports lineup. First, your basic Prime Star service includes your hometown regional sports network. This provides you with complete coverage of your local pro sports teams. You'll find less regional sports program duplication and more of the channels you want to watch, including CNNSI, the TV Food Network, the History Channel, American Movie Classics, MSNBC, and more. These are all part of your basic Prime Value package. And for those die-hard sports fans who want complete regional sports coverage, you can order all the regional sports networks available on our special sports tier. Enjoy the best seat in the house with Prime Star Sports. Prime Star, it's that good.
The NBA playoffs. Scope it out. Join James Worthy with inside coverage only a pro can show.
Better be ready.
Time to jam. Fox Sports News Prime Time. Midnights on MSG.
This portable Iowa music system features a dual CD changer, double cassette deck, digital tuner, remote control, and Q sound for 3D enhancement. Call 1-800-BUY-IOWA.
Sox with 6, not 5 off of Hideki Irabu tonight. He goes the distance and is now 4-0 with the ERA of 1.13. Jamie Navarro takes the early loss. His record falls below 500, and the Yankees cruise. The offense is rolling, and the pitching is matching it. 12-0 the final score tonight. Now it's time for the heavily styled Clubhouse Report, brought to you by the New York Marriott Marquis, which is Broadway's biggest hit. Now, folks, how long have we been doing this? A while, right?
Since the late 50s.
Michael Kay is trying to match the Yankee style of play by style. I mean, Mike, we're not going to show the socks, but the socks go with the tie, which goes with the jacket. It's an electric glide thing of beauty, blue.
You taught me something. I guess these are the only good socks in Chicago today.
Wait.
Okay,
Here we go.
There we go.
All
Nice.
right, we're all
I
over
like
it. There you go. I'm just proud of you. This shows that when you sat down to pack for Boston, Chicago, you spent a little time.
Well, I wanted to match the decor of the stadium, and I think it works.
All right, now you're getting carried away. Let's start off with Hideki Irabu. I think the last 2 games, that was a nice segue.
Thanks.
We haven't seen the real zooming fastball. What was he clocked at tonight?
Well, today he was averaging between 87 and 89, which, would seem eminently hittable. He topped out at 91 a couple of times, but that shows you, even without that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, which he sometimes has, he can get people out because he's spotting, he's using the breaking ball, spotting that on the corner, and he knows how to mix his pitches now, and that's something he did not do last year.
Can you believe that he's got the top ERA in the American League and he's got the best batting average against?
I find it hard to believe. The most asked question that I received during spring training, fans, people on radio shows would ask me, well, how do you think Irabu's going to do? I didn't know. I don't think anybody in the Yankees knew. I don't think Joe Torre knew. Some people felt he would be a decent pitcher for them, but nobody felt that he'd be in the running to start the All-Star game. He's been absolutely incredible, and tonight he gets his first Major League shutout.
Now, teams do certain things when they've lost their competitive edge. Last week we saw it with Robbie Alomar. The Orioles were getting hammered by the Yankees. He's not running out of ground ball. Not a major thing, but again, little things reveal the commitment, the character of a team. Frank Thomas swinging 3-0, 7th or 8th inning. What is that all about?
Swinging 3-0, 7th and 8th inning, he's down 12-0. And then I think in the 5th and 6th inning, Irabu had to throw 6 pitches each inning. I mean, if you're not working the count, you're not trying. Also, Jerry Manuel did some strange things as well. His team was down 8-0, and he's running 2-1 with 2 outs, runners on first and second. I know he's trying to juice his team, but that just doesn't make good baseball sense. And I agree with you. The Frank Thomas 3-0 green light, That didn't make any sense at all. You want him to get on base. I mean, the odds of him hitting a home run there are not very high. What if he lines the ball at somebody and it's a double play? So I think that's pretty bad the way the White Sox are playing baseball right now.
In contrast, the Yankees are spoiling us with their professionalism. A guy like Paul O'Neill, for example, never gives up an at-bat and didn't give up much tonight with a 4-hit contribution to the Yankee 12-0 win. Michael Kay spoke to him inside the Yankees clubhouse a few moments ago. Here's how it went.
Paul, what can you say about this Yankee offense, the amount of runs you've scored in the last couple of days?
It's weird. It seems like a lot of people are getting on base, and we're not doing it by just home run after home run. I mean, we're just getting hits and driving people in, and it makes it fun when it's like that. We've won a lot of games. The close games too, so those are the ones that that you worry about trying to go on through the season.
You know what I'm amazed at with this team? You guys could be up 10-0. Guy could be up in the 7th inning, and he doesn't give away an at bat. I mean, is it contagious that way?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people that are competing, on a level. You want to do what everybody else is doing. If one guy's doing it, you want to try to step up with him. And I think that hitting's that way, and I think pitching's that way, amongst the pitchers. But right now we're playing good baseball, and we've done it since El Nino left us alone out on the West Coast. We've been playing good baseball, and we realize that a lot of things can happen throughout the season, but right now, when we take the field, we expect to win.
Is Arabu better than you guys ever thought he would be at this point?
Well, obviously coming off the year he had last year, it's just, I look forward to when he's pitching. I really do. It's fun to watch him go out there, and he's really fit in with the team now. I mean, people are joking with him, and he's in the conversations, and it's so much of a difference. And I think he's so much happier this year and involved, with the team that, his true talent is coming out, and it's fun to watch. And like I said, every 5th day I look forward to when he's on the mound, because I know he's throwing the ball great.
El Nino gets blamed for everything.
Everything.
Meanwhile, we watch the evolution of Hideki Arabu. It's sort of a cultural thing. I mean, when you go back to last year, even Joe Torre recently admitted that was a bad situation because the Yankees were functioning well, and I think the players rejected that someone else was almost artificially thrown into their mix.
And you hope it doesn't happen with El Duque.
Well, that could, but in just talking about what's happened with him, the smiles, the looseness in the conversation with players in the clubhouse, I mean, he's worked at speaking English, and they've worked, I think, at approaching him to help involve him.
He really has been accepted. I think there was an animosity last year, and you can see the smiles here as he's getting the handshakes for the win. I mean, that is a big, broad grin. We never saw that last year. I spoke to him a couple of days ago. I had a lengthy interview, and George Rose, the interpreter, was there, and I said, well, how close is he to really speaking English? And Arabu said, well, the thing is, we're in the dark right now, but Arabu said,
not the first time.
The thing is that he's trying to learn English from watching movies on television and trying to follow scenes and trying to put the words together with what's happening. He said he understands English right now. He said, but it's very hard to speak. He said, because the English verb and the noun, they're in completely different spaces than they are in the Japanese language. He said, so he thinks speaking it is a long way off, but he does understand what people are saying. So he understands when the team is joking with him and what they're saying.
Imagine someone trying to learn English by watching the Jerry Springer show.
He said that's the biggest difference between the United States and Japan is the Jerry Springer show. That's a quote from him. He said there's nothing like that in Japan, which I guess bodes well for Japan.
More than us. Joe Torre was in the manager's office. He's certainly been enjoying this run that his team's been on. Here's what he was talking about.
Joe, what's your impression of Arabu today?
First couple of innings, he looked like he had trouble with his command, but once he got rolling, he was terrific. He threw a lot of good curveballs today, splitter, much better than his last outing.
How about your offense?
Wow. I don't know what I can say. We went out there, we were very aggressive. 2-2, a Knobloch takes off, Jeter hits it in the hole. I mean, it's just right now we're guessing right. And, of course, we're taking advantage of situations, and everybody's very aggressive.
And when you score 6 runs in the first inning and get off to that early lead, what does it mean to Arabu, and how much does it relax you?
Well, I still wasn't relaxed till he went through that first couple innings. He had bases loaded the one inning, and then, 2 men on the second inning. Once he got, it was interesting. The first inning he went 1-2-3 with a 3-4-5 hitters in the lineup. I felt pretty good when that happened.
What did he do to straighten himself out? Anything specific? Was it mechanical?
I just think it was, just one of those malfunctions the last time out. He just didn't have good stuff. Today his stuff was a lot better.
And did you, after like 7 innings with the 12-0 lead, say, I really want to get him the shutout?
Oh, sure. He had the shutout. His pitch count was down. He a couple of times ago, he threw 111, 112 pitches. He was under that today.
Well, Mike, Joe Torre pretty much explaining things as they are. I mean, you almost wonder what topics are you going to discuss in August with this team. I mean, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but it's really something awesome in the making. And I think the thing that I enjoy the most is that I sense that the players realize that these days in business and baseball, getting guys who are being paid handsomely that all agree to play together and commit to a team thing is something that they should really feel special about.
I think the way this team was put together is absolutely amazing because there's very little selfishness. I think that the guys don't give away at bats because they know that that's the team concept, not so much because they want to pad their statistics. So I think this is an amazing team, and John Sterling and I were talking about this on the radio side. You try not to get too close to it because then you really don't appreciate it. I don't know what people are feeling outside, but this is one for the ages. I mean, we could live to 100 and never see a 34-10 start again. This is absolutely stunning, and to be a part of it is kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, the way we talk about the 1927 Yankees Murderers Row and 61, the next generation may be talking about the 1998 Yankees and how they upped the bar just a little bit in a franchise in which it's very difficult to up the bar. We'll be back on MSG one more time on the Jeep and Eagle post-game report. Yankees a dozen, Chicago nothing. Hideki Irabu is now still undefeated.
Happening on Speed Vision.
Watching the Jeep and Eagle post-game report. Brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealer.
We're back at Comiskey Park, 12-0. The Yankees beat the Chicago White Sox, first of 3 of the series. I'm Al Troutwig along with Michael Kay. And, we don't talk during commercial breaks at all. People should know that.
Right.
There's no communication whatsoever.
We don't like each other.
Right. Well, that's been said. Mike, we could be looking at an all-star team here, almost at every position, as you point out, maybe for Chuck Knobloch. Every Yankee could be an all-star, almost without argument.
And you almost think that Chuck Knobloch's going to get his average up to 300 by the time the All-Star break rolls around, but Brocious has to be there. Jeter, either he starts or backs up Alex Rodriguez, Tino Martinez, and then the outfield, including Chad Curtis. He's had a great season as well. I guess the catcher wouldn't be there. Posada doesn't have the big numbers, neither does Girardi, but they do their job. And the starting pitcher really could be Hideki Irabu. He has the best ERA in the American League. He's 4-0, and if it keeps going like this, maybe he'll be 8-0, 9-0 by the All-Star break. You never know.
And this conversation in the city where they played the first All-Star game at the old Comiskey Park in 1933.
Wow, that's
How about
nice.
that? Now, one of the reasons that we like to follow the Yankees is that the clubhouse is filled with very professional players, some of them at a very young age, like Derek Jeter, and Peter Gammons took notice of something he said this weekend in the Boston Globe.
Yeah, he had a very, very long story about Jeter, Garciaparra, and Alex Rodriguez, and how those guys are the future of baseball. That's the 3 guys that baseball should market because they say the right things, they look great, they act great, and they just don't embarrass the game. And then Jeter happened to point out that, in the NBA, the young guys don't seem to respect the veterans or what came before them and what made them rich. He said, all of us do. He says, I know that the guys before me are the reason I'm well paid and I'm the Yankee shortstop. And I think something like that out of Derek Jeter speaks volumes. Those guys should be the stars of baseball. They should be on billboards, they should be in commercials, and that's who baseball should market. And if they ever got rid of arbitration so they didn't have to battle each other all the time, they would market those guys. That's the worst part of baseball, but if they just ever decide to do it, those 3 would be a good start.
And can you imagine, not marketing Derek Jeter? It's almost unthinkable. Now, we look to Mike for information about what happens on the field, in the clubhouse, and in restaurants of Boston. I think fans get a kick out of hearing who hangs with who and what happens when they go there. So fill us in.
Well, on Saturday night, it was David Cohn, Hideki Irabu, David Wells, and obviously George Rose always has to go with Irabu just to translate.
That's a good deal. He's always got to go.
And the guy who picked up the tab, which was $850, was David Wells. So I guess when you pitch a perfect game, you feel pretty magnanimous.
That's a lot of beef.
That is a lot of beef, and David Wells makes a lot of money and has a lot of beef.
Good night. With Michael Cam, Al Troutwig, thanks for joining us on the Jeep and Eagle post-game report. The Yankees beat the Chicago White Sox 12-0. Hideki Irabu goes the full distance, allowing only 6 hits, and the White Sox commit 2 errors in the process. Things not good for the Pale Hose in the Windy City. Coming up tomorrow on MSG, it's the Yankees and the Chicago White Sox playing Game 2 of the series. The New York City Marriott's Yankees scorecard begins our coverage on MSG at 7:30. Pitching for the Yankees, Mike?
Andy Pettit.
Thanks. Now, as we move along in our closing sequence, we can tell you that coming up next, it's the latest with Deb Kaufman at the MSG Sports Desk. That'll be followed at midnight by all the national news and highlights from Fox Sports News. So all things good for the New York Yankees. It started in the beginning of the game when Knobloch drew a leadoff walk, Jeter hit and run, and then the Yankees began a 6-run barrage. The White Sox just left hanging their heads because they couldn't deal for the most part with Hideki Irabu when men got into scoring position. He almost completely shut them down. Scott Brocious continues to hit on a roll. Jeter does too, in spite of what he considers to be momentary disappointments. Bernie Williams had a 3-run home run. Paul O'Neill had a 4-hit night. And that's the way things went as the Yankees take their offense in Fenway Park, pack it up, and ship it west to Chicago. Leon Schweier produced it. Bill Webb directed it. Michael Cooney had the replays. Eddie Cashinelli with the graphics. Good night, everybody.